Namaste Yogi, welcome to Living Yoga. In this session we'll be exploring the full and complete backbending practice from Living Yoga. But to ready and prepare our spine for this, we're going to utilize the Shakti flow to get ourselves ready. So you can bring yourself onto your hands and knees. Take a few moments to connect with your breath and to connect your breath with life. And then you can begin your practice with dog and cat tilt, creating undulating waves through your spine. As you do this, remember that the source of the movement in the spine is in the pelvis. Scooping the tailbone under to find your cat tilt whenever you exhale, and tilting the hips and the tailbone upward to find your dog tilt whenever you inhale. Keep the arms strong, shoulders broad. Have a sense of preparing and warming your spine for the practice ahead. Okay, the next time you're in dog tilt, you can make a switch into half dog, stretching one arm forward and then the other, keeping your hips directly above your knees. Have a sense of pushing the floor forward with your palms as you simultaneously draw back through your sit bones. You can then enjoy the exhale as a melt between your shoulders as you bring your heart and your forehead towards the ground. Connect with the pulse of your breath. Rise and fall in to each cycle of breathing. Okay, we're going to carry this quality of half dog through and into downward dog. So on your next inhalation, you can raise yourself up, bring your hands back into their original position, check the fingers are spread, palms are grounded. Find your dog tilt, and then tuck your toes under and slowly lift your hips into the air, keeping your knees bent, and see if you can rediscover that deep release between your shoulders. Release your neck, gaze through your feet, and then patiently run the stretch and the energy into your hamstrings. You're in downward facing dog. You're connected to your breath and you're connected to life. From down dog now, you can use an inhale to come back into dog tilt in order to access baby pose on the exhale as you sit your hips back towards your heels. Again, stay connected with the pulse of your breath, lifting your heart and stretching out through your spine and arms with the inhale, so that you can really find that inner let go with the exhale. Okay, we're now going to add a posture to the Shakti flow specifically for the needs of the coming practice. So you can return to dog tilt on your inhale, but then you're going to roll over to the left, straightening out through your left leg, bring your hand onto your hip so you're now one-armed. You can then send your left arm up into the sky. Enjoy the openness across your chest. But now the key is to bend your left knee and see if you can grab a hold of the foot or the ankle of that leg. Alright, now bring the energy through from your back to your front, opening your chest as you push the leg away from you to create this spinal curve and this stretch through the whole front of your body. Okay, we don't need to stay too long, you just ease yourself back into dog tilt and then reconnect with your baby pose as you exhale. And then we'll come and try the other side. Always, of course, be patient with anything new in the practice, which this may well be. So now you roll over onto your left knee, right leg straightens out. You can send your right arm into the air. You're now on one hand. And then when you're ready, you bend your right knee and you see if you can reach back and hold the foot or the ankle. You then flex the toes, push the right foot away from yourself. It's almost like a half bow pose. As you create a subtle back bend, but really a big opening in the front of your body. As well as, of course, a stretch in your quad in the front of your thigh. As you can return back to dog tilt. And from there, you can once again reconnect to baby pose. Where you can take a breath. Ease out any kinks or creases that you need to. Okay, now we're ready to continue the journey, so we're going to come down onto our front body. So we're going to lie down on our front. The key here, before we go into the locust pose, which is next, is to ensure that the hands are beside the chest, the elbows are tucked into the sides of the body, and the elbows are drawn back towards the hips, so your shoulders remain broad. Okay, locust pose in 5 stages. The first stage, on an inhale, is to lift the chest away from the floor. Peel it up slowly. Use the power of your inhalation and the strength of your spinal muscles. On the exhalation, you lower yourself smoothly back down, tucking your chin in so the forehead lands on the floor, and then see if you can lift your legs on the next inhale, keeping them straight, buttocks firm, spreading through the toes. The exhale lowers the legs, and now on the third stage with the inhale, you lift your chest and your legs away from the floor as we come into a fuller locust pose now. Continue to stay connected with your breathing. Fourth stage is to lift the hands away from the floor to join the legs and the chest. So you're gradually pulsing more of your body away from the ground. And then the final 5th stage is to interlace your fingers behind the back, where you now get 3 pulses of breath to bring pure energy and power into your spine. Toning the buttocks, firming the legs, and then using an exhalation to return to earth, hands back beside the chest. Okay, now for the Cobra variations. We're going to begin with Sphinx pose. So when you're ready, you can lift your chest a little and bring your elbows out in front of you so they're directly underneath your shoulders. Have your hands shoulder width apart. Spread your fingers into the floor. Connect with your breath. See what you can do to soften your lower spine and ease your hips into the ground. And then subtly engaging your arms, try and roll the heads of your shoulders back so your chest is drawn open. Let the back of your neck be long, chin parallel to the floor. See how it feels now to firm into the buttocks and engage the legs. As you draw as much juice out of this simple posture as possible. And now it will be an inhalation to straighten your arms. So simply the elbows have lifted from the floor now. As you push the floor forward with your hands, ground through your hips and run energy back through your big toes. Check the quality of your shoulders, the openness of your chest. Okay, final inhale, and then use your exhale to lower yourself back down into the original position with your hands beside your chest. We're now ready for half Cobra, so we keep our pelvis grounded, our elbows will remain bent, and with a combination of arm and spinal strength, you're going to roll your heart off of the floor, drawing the heads of the shoulders back, looking straight ahead. Ground through your thumbs, tuck your elbows in, and send a strong line of energy back to your big toes. Use the pulse of the breath to empower the posture, to fuel the posture. Okay, and it's an exhalation that returns us to ground. We're now ready for the full Cobra, which you can lift straight into on an inhale. This time, straightening the arms as much as you can. Each inhalation now comes up the front of the body, lifting into the heart, rolling the heads of the shoulders back, opening the chest and looking skyward. Have a sense that you're bringing new light into your body with each new inhale. Keeping the legs strong as you curl yourself open. You can find the peak of your next inhale, and then you can take your counter pose sequence. Exhaling into cat tilt, inhaling into dog tilt, and then flowing with the exhale back into your baby pose to fully extend and lengthen the spine. Take a breath in your baby pose. Our next two postures are devoted to the bow pose. The first is a preparation posture, and the second is bow pose itself. So on an inhalation, you can bring yourself back down onto your front. Again, your hands are positioned beside your chest, elbows drawn in. But then you're going to lift almost like Sphinx, but you can turn your forearm across your body. And then bending your right knee, reach back with your right hand and hold the top of your right foot. Now see what you can do with your exhales to draw the right heel towards your right hip. Be patient with this. Always respect and honor the edges of your body, but also explore and investigate the possibilities with each new exhale. Try and keep your chest open and your shoulders broad. Okay, you can release this side and simply switch, this time holding onto the left foot with the left hand. And then in your own way, drawing the left heel towards your left hip. The exhalation deepens the stretch. So having done this preparation posture, we should find it easier to come into the essential grip of the bow pose. So you can now hold on to your left ankle, bend your right knee and grab a hold of your right ankle also, and that's the base position for bow pose. Flex your ankles, flare your toes, and then with the drive of your inhale, you can lift yourself into bow, lifting the thighs and the chest away from the floor as you push back through your legs. So the arms now become bowstrings that are pulled taut with each new inhalation. A final inhale to peak your bow, and then the exhalation slowly lowers us back to ground. Okay, now for the counter posture sequence. So lifting into Cobra with the inhale, and then using the exhale to round the spine into cat tilt. The inhale then gives us dog tilt, and the exhale will take us back into baby pose. And this is an efficient and effective way to cleanse the spine after those back bends. Okay, you can slide your hands back either side of your knees. Our final two postures are camel and rabbit. So when you feel ready, you can use your inhalation to stand yourself up on your knees. Your knees will be hip width apart, so will your feet, and you may like to tuck your toes under initially as you find your way into the posture. The hands come onto the lower back, elbows tuck in, shoulders down. This is your support structure now. So each inhalation lengthens the abdomen and lifts the heart, and then the exhale nudges the hips forward as you find your initial back bend. Alright, of course, use your pulse to enter into the posture. And you practice in this way as long as you need to, or until you feel confident enough to lower one set of fingers onto one heel, and then perhaps even both hands onto the heels. Once you've got this, try and push your hips forward so they're in line with your knees. Open your chest, and then slowly roll your neck back, so you're now into this circular dynamic in your body that we call camel. Big inhales fill the shape out, and then each exhalation inwardly softens and surrenders into the shape of the posture. You can, it's worth spending some breaths here, but we'll now take an inhale to raise ourselves up. You can join your knees together and your big toes together, and then slowly bow down and into baby pose, this time holding onto your heels tightly with your hands. Alright, let the spine surrender itself. Feel any history coming out of your lower back as you prepare yourself for rabbit pose, which is the counter posture for your camel. To do this, you tuck your chin in, bringing your forehead as tight in towards your knees as you can, so the top of your head is on the floor. And then holding a tight grip on your heels, you slowly lift your bum. And as you do that, your spine will round itself a little bit like cat tilt. This will pull the arms taut, just like we did in bow pose. And if you can find a pulse here with your breath, you can ease yourself into a tight spot. After a couple of breaths, you may like to interlace your fingers behind your back to squeeze the final juice out of the posture. Okay, now to come out of rabbit pose, it's an inhale into an arm raise, and then an exhale to come into a kneeling base posture, bringing the hands into the lap, right hand on top of left. We're going to complete our practice here with double breathing, but first take a full breath through your body. Empty yourself into the exhale. And you can now take 10 double breaths. So as you double breathe, your chest is passive. All the action is in the abdomen. The inhales bloat the belly, and the exhale draws the abdomen back towards the spine. Once you complete, it's a full inhale up into the chest. Hold for a second, and then release with an R breath through the body. Close your eyes, come inside. There'll be a significant amount of aliveness and energy inside the body. See if you can bring this into a calm poise, so you have a dynamic stillness. This session is now complete. Namaste.